Please welcome Joel. He's going to talk a little bit about our state sovereignty.
Thank you all for coming today. It's good to see you, and it's good to be back in Helena under different circumstances than I was the last time. So, I want to make 2 points today for you. I'll probably come up with a couple others along the way, but 2 points are the 10th Amendment supports the second one, and the second point I want to make is that our rights are politically supported. You all understand the 10th Amendment. That is that the rights not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the people or the states respectively, unless they're prohibited to the states, such as making war, coining money, and impairing contracts, and those kinds of things. But Congress was given the power to regulate interstate commerce. That means to make regular, to make ordinary, to make predictable. That does not mean to impair it so that you can't carry it on. So we need to remember that. So, we already talked about the Montana Firearms Freedom Act. That really was a major piece of legislation passed in this last session here in Helena. And I was glad to be the one that would sponsor that bill for the Montana Shooting Sports Association. Huge deal, because what we have now, with the passage of this bill, people are now thinking often for the first time, what does the Constitution say? And they're talking in constitutional terms when before it wasn't even on the radar. But now we're talking about what does the Constitution allow, what does it not allow, and it's spreading across the nation, and it's informing all kinds of legislation you will see coming up here in this body next time. So what we did there, states' rights really was the issue, but guns were the vehicle. And it worked out well, and now it's being, as Gary Marbut said, spread throughout many states in the nation. More than half of the states are working on it right now. And that's a good thing, because we're going to use that model for other things like health care also. Gary talked about how the 10th Amendment modifies the Interstate Commerce Clause. But, I'd like to take that one step further. The Interstate Commerce Clause says that Congress can regulate interstate commerce, but after that, one of the amendments to the Constitution was what we're here for today. It's the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay? So when they're regulating commerce, we need to put over top of that the Second Amendment, which comes after that and supersedes it, and say, shall not be infringed. Do you think your rights to keep bear arms have been infringed at all?
Yes! Every day!
Yes, okay, so the Second Amendment says, after the Commerce Clause, shall not be infringed. So all these rights are a package. When you're thinking about who are you going to vote for your representative, who are you going to send to Congress, who are you going to send to Helena, you've got to think, do they support all of your rights or just a couple of them? You need to talk about that. You need to vet them, and don't support them if they don't support all of them, because they're all together. You can't throw out one and still expect to retain the others.
All of them!
So what are we here for today? We're all here because we know, as some of the previous speakers have said, that we've got a huge problem in this country. The problem is that when we started this country, we all agreed on what the rules would be. The principles were laid down in the Declaration of Independence, and the principles that were laid down in the Declaration of Independence were codified in the Constitution. That is the rule book. So what we see here, we're playing the game, and along the way, some people don't want to be bound by the rules, and you all know who they are. But we're saying, you've got to play by the rules. That's all we're asking. But what's happened is because we have not been vigilant, yes, we haven't been vigilant, and often we haven't been engaged, we have let this happen, what's happened, and now we're up in arms and we're saying, this cannot be done. We've got to go back to the rules. But while we've let other people drive the bus of the political sphere, we've been in back sleeping, and I'm saying that it is not men who rule us, it is laws. We have a government of laws here. These people that we send to Congress and to Helena are not our rulers, they are our servants. And we've got to remember that. So our job here today is reinstate the rule book, No unfair play, no cheating anymore. We can't let that happen. You are the guardians of the republic. It is not anybody else that's going to do that for you. Because there are some people out there, because of flawed human nature, who don't believe in the same things you believe in. They think that government is not instituted to protect your rights, but for them, government is a means to power. And they don't believe that government is to protect your rights, but they believe that government is something that they can do to take your money and redistribute your wealth, and they get control of you that way. Government is by its very nature monopolistic. We all understand that. And so our job is to keep government firmly chained with the chains of the Constitution. Government is there to protect your rights, or it is a path of power. I'm going to tell you that you need to start electing politicians and statesmen who will protect your rights, and not somebody who wants to have a path to power. So where do we all go with this? The whole reason we're here is not to just hear each other talk. Last point I want to leave with you is that our rights are politically protected. You know, we believe, and I'm sure, that our Creator gave us certain unalienable rights. But our Creator does not strike somebody dead if they don't protect your rights. That's your job. Okay? So if you're asleep at the switch and you're not paying attention, they are going to take your rights because government is by nature monopolistic. So we have to be awake, we have to be alert, we have to be involved. And the way that you need to be involved, other than coming to rallies, is we've got to find out who the candidates are that will protect your rights. You've got to vet them, and then you've got to volunteer. You've got to volunteer your time, you've got to volunteer your money, and you've got to be helping them out to get in so that they can have votes. The whole point of what we're doing here is to get votes on the board. Because if you go to Helena here and you've got a good idea, but if you can't put the votes on the board, it doesn't go. We got here because there's not because of truth and openness, but we got here because of ignorance of the law, ignorance of the Constitution, and there's others that don't have the same views that we have. And the way that we take that back is to get votes on the board. That means your time, your money, you're volunteering. Every candidate would love for you to call them up and say, when can I go door to door with you? When can I hand out literature? How much money can I give you? And can I volunteer in your office? They all need that help. And if you've got a good candidate, you want them to come here and put votes on the board here to advance good legislation and to repeal bad legislation. That is the path to power. So if you want your rights, you've got to stand up for them, bring your friends, and make sure that you involve everybody in this. Thank you very much for coming here.